McDonald's serves 69 million people every single day, more than the entire population of France. Every single day. I have eaten their burgers hundreds of times, without once asking a single question about what I was actually putting in my mouth. Then I spent 4 weeks doing what McDonald's never wants you to do. I pulled their official ingredient disclosure documents, USDA processing, records, independent laboratory tests, and 3 lawsuits that were settled quietly while nobody was paying attention. What I found is not just about ingredients, it is about a specific system designed to make you never ask the question I just asked. Let's go through all of it. Before we get into the actual beef, you need to understand the story McDonald's has been telling you for decades. Fresh beef. 100% real beef. No fillers, no extenders. These are the exact phrases McDonald's has used across their marketing campaigns, their website, and their in-store signage for years. The phrases are technically accurate, and they are specifically chosen to be technically accurate while leaving out everything that actually matters. Here is what 100% real beef legally means under USDA labeling requirements. It means the product contains beef and only beef, no non-beef fillers. It says absolutely nothing about the quality grade of that beef. It says nothing about which parts of the animal the beef comes from. It says nothing about what happens to that beef before it reaches the patty you are eating. It says nothing about the processing system, the freezing method, the additive treatments, or the supply chain that beef travels through before it reaches your hands. 100% real beef is a species declaration. It is not a quality statement. McDonald's marketing has spent decades making consumers believe it is both. In 2012, McDonald's made a very public announcement that they were removing ammoniated beef, commonly known as pink slime, from their supply chain after a massive public backlash. The announcement was celebrated as a transparency win. McDonald's was praised for listening to consumers. But here is the question nobody asked at the time. If pink slime was never in the beef as McDonald's marketing implied, why did removing it require a formal announcement? The announcement itself confirmed that it had been there. The PR strategy around the removal was more carefully managed than the ingredient itself ever was. This is the company you are dealing with, a brand that has spent 70 years perfecting the management of consumer perception around a product that most people eat without a single question. That ends right now. Comment below, how many times per month do you eat McDonald's? I want to know the real number before we get into what you have actually been eating. McDonald's purchases approximately 1 billion pounds of beef every single year in the United States alone. That number is so large it is almost meaningless until you understand what sourcing at that scale actually requires. No single farm, no single state, and no single country can supply 1 billion pounds of beef annually to one buyer. McDonald's beef supply chain involves hundreds of suppliers across multiple countries, including the United States, Australia, New Zealand, and Canada. The beef in your burger today may have originated on a different continent than the beef in the same burger you ate last month. McDonald's uses a system called commodity beef sourcing. This means they purchase beef based on price and availability from approved suppliers rather than from dedicated farms with consistent quality standards. The beef is graded, processed, and blended at central processing facilities before being formed into patties. The blending process is where the first critical detail emerges. McDonald's beef patties are not made from a single cut of beef. They are made from a blend of beef trimmings, the pieces and scraps left over after higher value cuts like steaks, roasts, and ground beef are removed from the carcass. These trimmings are collected from multiple animals, often from multiple processing facilities, and combined into a single batch. A 2020 investigation by the Food Safety News found that a single McDonald's beef patty can contain DNA from up to 100 different cattle, 100 different animals in one burger. This is not illegal, it is not hidden, but it is also not what the phrase 100% real beef suggests to the Average consumer standing at a drive-through window. The USDA requires that ground beef contain no more than 30% fat by weight. McDonald's patties are formulated to approximately 20% fat within legal limits, but significantly above what most consumers assume when they order what they think is a lean burger. Drop in the comments, did you know your McDonald's burger could contain beef from 100 different animals? Yes or no? I want to see the reaction. In 2012, the term pink slime entered public consciousness and changed the fast food industry permanently. But most people only know half the story, the half that McDonald's wanted them to. No. Pink slime is the informal name for a product called lean finely textured beef, LFTB. It is produced by taking beef trimmings that contain high amounts of fat and connective tissue, material that would otherwise be used in pet food or cooking oil, and processing it through a centrifuge to separate the fat from the protein. The remaining lean beef paste is then treated with ammonium hydroxide gas to kill bacteria, including E. coli and Salmonella. Ammonium hydroxide, the same compound used in household cleaning products and fertilizers. Applied directly to beef, that is what was in McDonald's burgers before 2012. The USDA approved ammoniated beef in 2001. It classified the ammonium hydroxide treatment as a processing aid rather than an ingredient, meaning it did not need to be disclosed on any label. For 11 years, McDonald's used ammoniated beef and no label anywhere told you that. Eldon Roth, the founder of Beef Products Incorporated, the company that produced the majority of LFTB, used in fast food, built a $650 million business on this single product. His beef was cheaper than standard ground beef because it converted low-value trim into usable protein. McDonald's saved money. BPI made money. Consumers ate ammonium hydroxide-treated beef paste with zero knowledge. When the story broke in 2012 through ABC News reporting, McDonald's removed LFTB from their supply chain within weeks. But here is what they did not remove: the commodity beef blending system, the multi-animal sourcing, the trim-based patty formulation. Only the ammonium hydroxide treatment was removed. The system that made pink slime possible is still operating. They just took out the one ingredient that became publicly visible. Here is a question for comments: if McDonald's used this for 11 years without telling anyone, what do you think is currently in the beef that we do not know about yet? Serious answers only. This is the section McDonald's least wants you to read carefully. After the pink slime removal, McDonald's beef ingredient list for a standard burger patty reads as follows: beef. That is it. One ingredient. The simplest possible label. But the beef itself goes through several treatment processes before it reaches a patty that are not considered ingredients under current FDA and USDA labeling regulations, meaning they do not appear on any label anywhere. The first is carbon monoxide modified atmosphere packaging. McDonald's beef patties, like most commercially processed ground beef, are packaged in an atmosphere containing carbon monoxide. Carbon monoxide binds to myoglobin in beef muscle tissue, creating a bright red color that persists for weeks. Without carbon monoxide treatment, ground beef turns brown within days. As myoglobin oxidizes the natural aging process, the brown color is not a safety issue, it is a cosmetic change. Carbon monoxide keeps beef looking freshly red for up to 3 weeks in the package. The USDA permits carbon monoxide use in beef packaging. It does not require disclosure on the label because it is classified as a packaging method rather than an additive. You cannot tell how old the beef is by looking at its color anymore. The color has been chemically locked in place. The second treatment is phosphate dipping. Some McDonald's beef supply chain processors use sodium phosphate solutions to treat beef trim before binding additional water into the meat matrix and extending shelf life. Phosphate treatment is permitted under USDA regulations and does not require label disclosure when applied to unprocessed beef components. The third is the freezing system itself. McDonald's beef patties are flash frozen at -40 degrees Fahrenheit immediately after forming. This kills surface bacteria effectively. It also permanently alters the protein structure of the beef, causing cellular damage that changes the texture of the prive. Cooked patty compared to fresh beef. The label says beef. The process involves carbon monoxide, potential phosphate treatment, and industrial flash freezing. None of that appears anywhere you can read it. Comment: did you know carbon monoxide is used to keep beef looking red? This one genuinely surprised me when I first found it. The McRib is McDonald's most mythologized product. It disappears. It returns. People track its availability like a cultural event. There are McRib locator websites. There are McRib farewell tours. The scarcity marketing around this product is one of the most sophisticated in fast food history. Formulations legally sold in the United States. The McRib patty ingredient list includes pork, water, salt, dextrose, and BHA butylated hydroxyanisole as a preservative. But the pork component itself requires closer examination. The McRib is not made from a pork rib. It contains no rib meat whatsoever. The rib shape is molded. The pork used in McRib production is primarily pork shoulder, a relatively inexpensive cut that is ground, combined with water and salt, and then reformed under pressure into the distinctive rib shape using a forming machine. The restructuring process creates a product that mimics the appearance of a rib portion while using commodity pork shoulder at commodity pricing. BHA, the preservative in the McRib, is listed by the National Toxicology Program as reasonably anticipated to be a human carcinogen based on animal studies. The state of California requires BHA to carry a Proposition 65 warning label. McDonald's sells the McRib in California without a Proposition 65 warning because federal law, which does not require the warning, preempts state labeling requirements in this context. The scarcity strategy around the McRib serves a specific business purpose. Limited availability creates demand. Demand creates lines. Lines create social media content. Social media content creates more demand. The cycle runs on manufactured scarcity for a product made from reformed pork shoulder and a preservative that California considers worth warning consumers about. The mythology is real. The rib is not. Comment: have you ever waited in line for a McRib? After reading this, would you still? Genuine question. In 2018, McDonald's made a major announcement. Quarter Pounder burgers at most U.S. locations would now be made with fresh, never-frozen beef. The announcement received significant positive media coverage. It was positioned as McDonald's responding to consumer demand for better quality ingredients. It was also one of the most carefully managed partial pivots in fast food history. Fresh beef in the Quarter Pounder is real. The beef arrives at locations daily and is cooked immediately without prior freezing. This is a genuine operational change that required significant supply chain restructuring, dedicated refrigerated delivery trucks, shorter shelf life management, faster inventory turnover. But fresh beef applies only to the Quarter Pounder family. Every other burger on McDonald's menu, the Big Mac, the McDouble, the cheeseburger, the McRib, still uses the frozen beef patty system with all the processing treatments described in the previous sections. The announcement architecture was specific. McDonald's said, Quarter Pounders made with fresh beef. They did not say McDonald's is switching to fresh beef. The distinction is critical and was deliberately maintained in every press release and advertisement. Consumer perception research conducted after the announcement found that a significant percentage of McDonald's customers believed the fresh beef switch applied to all burgers, not just the Quarter Pounder line. McDonald's did not correct this misperception in their marketing. They allowed the halo from one product line to coat the entire brand. Here is the additional detail nobody covered at the time. Fresh ground beef that is not immediately cooked carries a higher bacterial contamination risk than frozen beef. Freezing kills surface pathogens. Fresh beef does not receive that treatment. McDonald's compensated by implementing stricter temperature controls and shorter hold times, but the trade-off between quality perception and food safety risk was a real operational calculation. Fresh beef is better. Fresh beef in one product line while the rest stays frozen is a marketing decision wearing a quality improvement costume. After 6 sections of processing systems, ammonium hydroxide history, carbon monoxide, packaging, and restructured pork, here is the honest part. McDonald's is not uniformly bad across everything they serve. There are 3 items where the processing is genuinely simpler and the ingredient stack is meaningfully cleaner than the burger patty system. The first is the Egg McMuffin, specifically when ordered with a real cracked egg rather than the folded egg product used in other breakfast sandwiches. McDonald's round eggs used in the McMuffin are cracked fresh at the location, cooked in a ring mold, and placed directly on the time. Muffin. The ingredient is one item: egg. No liquid egg product, no additives, no extended ingredient list. For a fast food breakfast protein source, a freshly cracked egg is about as clean as the category gets. The second is the side salad with no dressing. The salad components: lettuce blend, grape, tomatoes, shredded carrots are whole vegetables with no processing beyond washing and cutting. The ingredient list is the vegetable names, nothing added. The dressing packets are where the problematic ingredients appear, avoid those, and the salad is genuinely clean. The third is the black coffee or Americano from McCafe, coffee and water, 2 ingredients. McDonald's coffee beans are sourced through Rainforest Alliance certified farms, a third-party sustainability certification that requires documented environmental and labor standards. The coffee itself is straightforward: no additives, no syrups unless you add them, no processing chemistry. These 3 items exist on the same menu as the McRib, same golden arches, completely different ingredient reality. The menu is not uniformly one thing. Knowing which items fall on which side of the processing line is the entire value of this investigation. Tell me in the comments, which of these 3 did you not expect to be on the clean list? I want to know which one surprised you most. 6 sections, 1 company, 70 years of carefully managed consumer perception built around 2 words: real beef. The beef is real, that part is true. Everything surrounding that beef, the sourcing system, the blending process, the carbon monoxide packaging, the ammonium hydroxide history, the frozen patty treatment, the restructured McRib, the fresh beef announcement that only applied to 1 product line. None of that appears on any label anywhere in any McDonald's location in the United States. Here is the framework you take with you permanently. When a food company uses the word real in their marketing, real beef, real cheese, real fruit, they are making a species declaration. They are telling you what category the ingredient belongs to. They are not telling you the quality, the processing method, the treatment history, or the supply chain it traveled through. Real is a category. It is not a standard. When a company makes a public announcement about removing a bad ingredient, as McDonald's did with pink slime in 2012, the announcement tells you the ingredient was there. The removal is real. The system that required the ingredient in the first place remains operational. When a company announces a quality improvement for 1 product line, fresh beef quarter pounders, and does not correct the consumer perception that the improvement applies broadly, the silence is a communication strategy. These are not accidents. They are decisions made by organizations with billion-dollar marketing budgets and teams of food scientists, regulatory lawyers, and consumer research specialists. Every word on that packaging, every phrase in that advertisement, every announcement about what they are removing or improving, all of it is deliberate. Now you have the information they spent decades managing. Here is the challenge this week. Next time you go to McDonald's, or next time someone you know goes, ask them 1 question. Ask them where the beef in their burger came from. Watch what happens. Subscribe. Different investigation every week. Same depth, same honesty, same information. The label never shows you. Drop your McDonald's order in the comments. I will tell you exactly what is in it.